The two kings of Songhai, Sunni Ali and Askia Muhammad. The Ghana Empire rose as a titan on the African continent, pioneered ironworks, and her finesse was seen in her military exploits. When it became weak, one of her client states known as Mali took the mantle and mastered the ironworks through the Mandinka people for centuries, and the key authorities were centered in the hands of the Mande people. But just like Ghana, Mali became weak. Its military fought itself. An attack came from the Musi and the desert Tuareg people until one young kingdom in the region known as Songhai positioned itself and steadily rose to power, absorbed Mali and other tribes in the region, and planted the greatest empire in Africa known as the Songhai Empire. The stories we'll share today come from oral history and the Timbuktu Chronicles, Tariq al-Fattash and Tariq al-Sudan. Songhai grew into an empire under the leadership of a controversial and shrewd military leader, Sunni Ali, a man believed to be built for war. The griots or traditional people of the Songhai praised him as a great leader, but the Muslim scholars of Timbuktu hated him and rumored that he was not a true Muslim. Seeing how the Malian army failed due to the blockade they experienced in the supply of horses across the Sahara, he built stables and started breeding horses in Africa to keep his army thriving. Sunni Ali built a navy of about 400 boats on the Niger River and dug a canal which aided his army to siege the city of Djenné. And wherever his army went, they came with victory. The city of Gao was an important epicenter of trade in Songhai Empire. Its vast markets traded spices, kola nuts, ivory, gold and slaves for goods coming from the Mediterranean such as horses, weapons, silk and salt. The city of Timbuktu was a place for scholars where scribes were trained. Here, they wrote books in Arabic, Songhai, Fulani and countless African languages which found audience in the libraries of Baghdad, Alexandria and the mosques of Cordoba in Spain. According to the chronicles, Ali had deep hatred for a tribe called the Fulbe, and when they revolted, he marched on them and slaughtered them on a scale that the ones who remained could fit under the shade of a tree. He also hated the scholars of Timbuktu for making him unpopular, and he raided the city, killing any scholars at sight and ordered the books to be burned. Sunni Ali died in November 1492. According to the chronicle Tariq al-Sudan, he was killed by flood while crossing the Niger River, and his son Baru succeeded him, and the empire broke out in anger against him. The scholars who left also returned with their armies and rallied around one man to lead them. His name was Askia Muhammad, a general under Sunni Ali and the overseer of the Bandiagara escarpment. On several occasions, Sunni Ali vented his anger on him, but his intelligence and competence saved him from the blade. Baru led his army against Askia but was defeated, and Askia Muhammad took the Songhai throne and worked to unite the empire, ruling over the Soninke, Bambara, Fulbe, Dogon, Tuareg and Bozo ethnic groups. First, he declared jihad against the Musi people who were raiding part of Songhai from the south, captured their cities and expanded their empire. Then, he invaded the Tuareg people in the desert and seized the salt mines of Tahaza, where people even built houses from salt breaks. He welcomed the exiled scholars persecuted by Sunni Ali home and befriended them. He chose his ministers from all the tribes without prejudice. He policed the trade routes and organized a tax system and engaged on a pilgrimage to Mecca to establish friendship with the rest of the Islamic world, and took along the leaders of every ethnic group, including the Fulbe, who were hated by Sunni Ali. Towards the end of his life, Askia Muhammad became blind and relied on his advisor to enact laws. Out of his 37 sons, who were all itching to be emperor, Musa, a boy described in the chronicle as stupid and impudent, took the throne and sent his father to a mosquito-infested island in the Niger River. In 1531, Musa was killed by one of his brothers, who brought their father Askia Muhammad home, and he died after a year. The end of Askia Muhammad's reign brought an end to Songhai's golden age. The frequent overthrows and conflict dried its wealth and opened the door for its heavy slave agriculture, where conquered armies or tribes were marched through the Hajj Sahara and sold as slaves in North African slave markets, where they were sent to the Byzantine Empire, Arabia, Spain, or Venice and forced to work or fight in one army or the other. In our next episode, we'll cover how the great Songhai Empire was finally destroyed by Morocco. Thanks for watching. Please support us by following our pages and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more breathtaking contents.